I'm Cameron, and I'm an Eagle graduate, and you're listening to the Westy podcast.
So I happened to be at school yesterday helping out with some of the park feeding and stuff like that, and the staff from the park came back and told me that they had a young single mother who had come with her kids to the park and was crying to them, saying how much she needed that meal for her kids, and that she was so grateful that they were there.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to a very special Pulse edition of the West Ada podcast. We are at Tully Park, and I always say this, Katie, but like, if you are listening to this, great, but you might want to watch today.
This is definitely one you want to watch on YouTube, for sure.
It's a tease, a surprise for later. Yes. But we're here with some really amazing guests from our school nutrition department.
We have Ann Brock and Kristen Homer. They kind of lead the charge with school nutrition in the district, and they do a phenomenal job, including the summer feeding program, which we're talking about today.
Yeah, the summer meals program, and it's at different locations, and I'll include that for you in the introduction. But it's a huge program that our nutrition department does, and what they accomplish is pretty amazing.
It is amazing, and the logistics of getting it all, prepared and out to all the different sites and having staff on hand for the summer. I mean, it's really an amazing puzzle that they do a phenomenal job at putting together.
It's pretty cool. Well, thank you so much for being here today. And again, if you're listening, great. But you may want to watch, let's just say we had a sprinkler incident.
We're at a park,
But we're loving parks and dogs and kids and all the things. So we're glad you're here. Here we go.
Well, we're here today with two more of our amazing colleagues. We have Ann Brock and Kristen Homer with School Nutrition. Welcome, ladies.
Thank you. Excited to be here.
Yeah, thanks for having us.
They're the best colleagues, the colleagues with food.
I know, they are. Well, and I've used their team for catering before. It's pretty darn delicious.
Heck yeah. Well, Ann, I don't know. I mean, let's just jump in. Give us you're starting your fourth year with West Ada. How did you get into West Ada? Give us your background. How'd you get to do what you're doing now?
Yeah, great question. I'm a registered dietitian, and so my career path has always been in some way or form dealing with food. I knew I wanted to be in the medical field, but not necessarily a doctor or a nurse.
Sure.
So dietetics felt the most natural way for me to go, especially I am a foodie. Anybody in school nutrition is usually a foodie.
That's true.
Yeah. I had a couple of different career path changes, and this being one of them. I never imagined myself in the school districts, just going through my internship and all of that.
Sure.
I'd say it's the dream job. I'm glad I found it, and that path opened up for me. So
that's really cool.
That is cool. And I know your team appreciates you. Like, everyone was really excited when you came on, and you've done some great things in your tenure. So we're happy. And as parents, I have kids who eat school lunch, so I'm happy to have you.
Yes, thank you.
And also the foodies on your team. That makes lunch that much better.
It does, yes.
Right? Kristen, how about you? You've been with the district a little bit longer, haven't you?
Yeah, I've been with about 7 years now. And I will say I grew up on the free and reduced meal program. So I have a lot of respect for that program. Seeing the need growing up with that program I'm grateful that we had that. My mom was very grateful that we had that. And I just have a passion for nutrition. I don't have my dietetics degree, but I do have a passion for nutrition and feeding kids. And I really have a passion for making sure that everybody gets a chance to have a meal. I have kids with special diet needs due to some allergies or diseases, and so they can't eat all the foods. And so I want to make sure that every kid gets a meal and they're not left out. So grateful for the opportunity to feed the kids, especially during the summer right now where we're here, where we don't have that school meal program that they're used to, and they can all eat. So we're grateful for that.
Well, and I love that we can kind of see the kids even enjoying, the meal behind us here. I mean, the summer meal program, and why do we do what we do? This is a big darn deal, and a lot of people don't even know about it. So why is this so important for us?
It's huge. It's a way to nourish and grow the community. It's for the families that are in need that really rely on the free and reduced program, as Kristen said. It's to make sure that they are still fueled throughout the summer, because there's probably some families in the area that aren't sure what they're going to do without those free and reduced meals during the school from the school year. So it's to meet that need, but it's also to make connections with our community. West Ada is a great place, and by being out here and connecting with our families and those that come to our schools, or those that don't, that our kids are younger or kids are older, it's a community builder as well.
Yeah, and there's not, during the summertime, these summer feeding programs, there's not like an application or parameters, really, are there? I mean, what are the parameters for community members, kids to come enjoy lunch?
Oh, very easy. So it's ages 1 to 18, and anyone within that age group can come up and receive a free meal. Just have to show up and get in line. We do sell $5 adult meals, or for students, excuse me, for
Sure.
those that are over the age of 18.
Right.
Yeah.
But otherwise, that's our only parameter, is just ages 1 to 18.
Well, and Kristen, you talked about it. I mean, this is something that you part of your growing up. I mean, we talk about this a lot on our podcast. I mean, I am very blessed. I never had that kind of issue, but there's a need in this community, I think, that sometimes is not really seen. Is that fair? You're like, Ken, that's not really true. But what is that a fair assessment?
That's a very fair assessment. There are a lot of people who don't qualify for free and reduced, but are still in that gap of really needing some assistance. It doesn't take much to miss out on the opportunity to qualify, especially if you're a single parent with one child. You may be making more than $15 an hour and you don't qualify for free or reduced meals.
Oh, wow.
But how are you making ends meet?
Right.
You're not.
And you can't in the Valley
And that
anymore.
also means you're not qualifying for other programs like SNAP or other benefits, right? Because we have the
Right.
same kind of qualifications as like the SNAP program or other programs. We have a little bit further for reduced, but for free meals. So those kids are not qualifying for anything, but those parents are still struggling. So grateful that we have this opportunity to provide free meals to all students, or all kids, not just students. Anybody that would like to come down and get a meal, it's free, and they don't have to apply, and they can just come down and grab some food.
I love that. Well, and I think one of the things too, like this is happening all over the place. I mean, Ann, can you talk about that? I mean, I can't imagine just the logistics of trying to deal with, getting so many different people fed on a daily basis throughout what are the logistics like?
Oh, a little bit batty, but in school nutrition, we know nothing's ever going to work how we want it to, and we are just an easy go with the flow type group because of that. So logistically, we have 9 different sites for just West Ada. There are sites all across the nation through the same summer feeding program, but West Ada, we have 9 sites and hoping to grow and expand as much as we can in the future. Logistically, we have to have enough staff at our sites to make sure that we're preparing enough food. We do things like fresh cut melons, and that takes a couple extra staff members because it's a lot of prep work.
Right.
But our staff that are all on site, that's what they love and that's what they're here for. So we have the logistics of the food, making sure it stays hot while we get it to the park, or cold depending on what it is, if it's milk. We have making sure we're working with our vendors to place orders on time. We also have to make sure we have staff that's trained and ready to go, and also give our staff the break for summer, because a lot of them still want to go on summer vacation. And
Of
have time
course
with
they
their
do.
families.
Sure, yeah.
And there's so much that as an outside observer, just getting to do different things with your team over the years, and like this program, seeing how much goes into it that I think people don't realize. Like you mentioned, keeping the food at certain temperatures. Like you have like thermometers that travel with them and are checking the food temperature. Your staff is very well trained. There are certain signage that you have to post. There's just so much that goes into it that I think people don't realize. You're not just showing up with a bag of peanut butter and jelly and being like, here you go. It's like real nourishing food.
Yes, very much. And there's nutrition guidelines that we have to follow. I mean, it's a busy summer, but we love what we do.
Yeah. Summer feeding's like at a special place. It's different than the regular school year. It's just nice to be out in the parks and see all the kids and feed them good food.
Have fun.
Well, and we're here at Tully Park, so I know we're at parks, but there's also libraries. I mean, we have community partners. Kristen, what's that look like? I mean, in terms of community partners, we have to have help from cities.
So I would say the nice part, we have one of our places that we serve is Eagle Library, and we have community partners that volunteer every day to help us do those meals, because it was kind of a logistical, something we had to figure out logistically to be able to feed those kids out in that area and having the correct staff and numbers. So we have volunteers that go out every day and help hand out those meals at the Eagle Library site. That's out in the lawns in front of Eagle Library. It's a gorgeous place to serve meals, great need, and we've seen that grow. We also have different partners that come partner with us for our summer feeding kickoffs and other programs that we have. Like today we have the bookmobile out here, which is awesome. And certain days we'll have other community partners like the Children's Museum, or Delta Dental will come out sometimes and offer some different things. Different groups that will come out and offer and partner with us. But we definitely rely on those that volunteer or help us, or making sure that we can even be logistically in certain places. Getting in parks isn't always easy. Sometimes parks don't want you to be in that area, or
they're booked, right?
Or they're booked, or they're worried about, like, are you going to leave a mess in our area? How is that going to work? So just showing that we're good partners, so that we will work with them. We've generally not had too many issues with that, but we're grateful for those that volunteer and help us feed different kids. We also have the site this year. We're partnering with Hub 365. It's a food pantry for the community off of Cloverdale, and so they they reached out and wanted to serve meals this year. So we're over there as well, serving free meals to those that would maybe come to that food pantry and grab food.
Oh, that's really
it's so nice that you can have so many different sites, because logistically for families, right, they may need to just go to the closest place to where they live, and so I think that's probably intentional when you're selecting program sites and whatnot throughout the year.
Yeah, we want to make sure we have good coverage across the city across Meridian and Boise, but then we also want to make sure that we are finding those pockets of high need, I would say.
Yeah.
There's a couple of spots, Kleiner Park is a new one to us, and from the outside in, you probably wouldn't think that it is a high
Right, you
area.
think the village is right there, like
Right.
Yeah, but it is, and it's been hugely successful so far this summer, and I'm just excited to watch it continue to grow. And really, without those community partners like the Meridian Parks and Rec or the senior citizen location there, we couldn't do it without them.
Right.
Well, and how do you figure out the need? And because we were talking earlier, you like some days you may have 20, the next day you may have 100. I mean, how difficult is that from a preparation and a planning standpoint?
Yes, that's a great question.
We're still figuring that out.
It's got to be hard, right?
Yeah. So usually look at an average of what maybe you served last year.
Sure.
And start there and work your way up or down depending on what comes. You also have to pay attention to weather, holidays coming up. So usually around 4th of July, we see things start to go down a little bit. But June's usually a busy month for us. What's really hard are our new sites. So especially at Kleiner, we didn't really know what to expect.
Right.
But you can guess, the first day is going to be a little bit slower, and after that, it could go
sky high.
either way.
like once the word gets out.
Yeah. So we do our best to try to communicate that out as well, either through media outlets, through our own social media pages.
Sure.
Word of mouth, any way we can.
Now, I apologize. You may have already said this, but are the summer meal?
We may have to pause. You know what? We're going to pause. We'll be right back.
Follow West Ada School District across your preferred social media channels: Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, Nextdoor, and YouTube. You can find us there today.
Okay, well that was epic. We have never had that happen before, ever in the history.
Yay, sprinklers!
Yay, sprinklers came on. The sprinklers went off, and we've dried everything off, and we can continue this lovely conversation. But listen, if you're listening to this podcast, you should probably go on YouTube and watch this one just for the sake of me going
Us all jumping out of the way.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, that was a fun little break.
Right.
It's refreshing.
Yeah, right. So, Kristen, earlier you had mentioned kind of being a benefiting from like school nutrition programs as a kid growing up and stuff. Are there any kind of like super cool testimonies or stories that you could share about the work that you guys are doing and what you've seen happen in West Ada?
Yes, I happened to be at school yesterday helping out with some of the park feeding and stuff like that, and the staff from the park came back and told me that they had a young single mother who had come with her kids to the park and was crying to them saying how much she needed that meal for her kids. And that she was so grateful that they were there. It's the first time that this park had been doing meals in a lot of years. We hadn't been back at Fuller Park for a while, and just recognizing that there are those people that really truly need this food, that this might be the next meal this kid gets. So I'm so grateful that we have those programs and opportunities, and that they don't have to apply. They don't have to do any work. They can just come and feed their kids, sit down at the park, or wherever we may be serving the meal at a school or wherever, and just enjoy that meal with their children.
Well, and I think this might be a good time for me just to jump in and say real quickly, a couple of years ago I was out here getting some video of one of our opening days, and so I'll put that link in our show
that'd
notes
be great.
today, just so you can kind of, you can see the everyone behind us enjoying the meals, but to see the line and it's anyway. I'll put that story in the show notes because I think it's kind of a cool visual if you're interested in seeing that too.
Well, and it was fun. Like you're saying, the visuals and getting to see all this. Like the line for lunch is amazing, and I just love seeing all these kids and families out here getting lunch in the park and hearing the kids talk about like, what's on the menu today? Like, how does your team kind of decide? Obviously, they've got to be meals that can be packaged and brought over and that kind of thing. How do you all decide on a menu for these lunches?
I think you hit it right on the head. It's really looking at items that are going to be easy to serve, easy to transport, that you can really make in a large amount. So we have our PB&Js, we have corn dogs, hamburgers, turkey sandwiches, and there are also a lot of kid favorites. That's another thing is, while it is a healthier option and may not always look that way, it's a whole grain, low fat corn dog or, items like that. And I could talk to that until I'm blue, but it's
go
things that
nutritionist,
kids,
you go.
I know. Let me go. And it's nice to have kid favorites because they will show up and they will eat it.
Sure.
And that's what we really hope for.
Well, and it's not just lunch. How do you all decide? Because some of the sites do breakfast as well.
Oh, yeah.
What does that look like? How do you all decide what that looks like?
Yeah.
So that also is based on some of the programs that we might have in some of the schools as well. Like we have our summer school program at Meridian Middle School, and so those kids are there for breakfast as well. So we offer a breakfast not only to those students at Meridian Middle School, but to the community. So that's a great site for breakfast. Some of our other sites like Peregrine and Desert Sage also have boys and girls clubs near them, and those kids almost kind of rely on those meals. So definitely we offer breakfast at those sites as well. So kind of really community sites where we know there's a high need maybe for those groups to come in and have a meal with us. We try to do breakfast as well.
Oh, that's really cool. That's really cool.
Keeping those little bodies and minds nourished. I love that.
Yeah.
Well, and special days, and I mean, I know the opening kickoff is always a big darn deal, but Westy's birthday. I mean, it's funny. I've been with you all in middle schools, and you would think that middle schools would be almost too cool for Westy, but no, they are all in. I mean, can you talk about how special is it to do special events too?
Oh, it's great, and I think it's special,
so
you have just this excitement that goes along with it. So when we do our summer feeding kickoff or Westy's birthday party, families come and they're just so excited about everything that's going on. That's when we get our community partners out here. We get Westy out here, and Westy's our school nutrition mascot for those of us that might not know Westy. He's a big deal.
Thank you.
If you don't know Westy, you should.
Kind of a big deal. Yeah.
We're really working to get Westy trending so the world can see him. But it just is the excitement that goes behind it. I mean, it's not that we do a special meal. It's just that we bring special people to our site.
I think kids were really excited for last year was the first year we did Westy's birthday party. And we made it a birthday party for kids. We had like those like little blowers, noisemakers for all the kids. We had like a special fruit pop for everybody, and we sang happy birthday to Westy, and just the kids were invited to a big birthday party. So all those kids that maybe didn't feel invited sometimes, they were all invited. The whole community was invited, so that was fun.
Everybody loves a birthday party, and without the pressure of bringing a gift, you know, you can just go show up and celebrate in a beautiful
free
park
meal
or school and have a free meal. Heck yeah.
Well, and how appreciative how appreciative of you are your team? I mean, because it takes a special. I would think it takes a special person to really engage with the kids and be a part of that. What's that like from your perspective?
You know, to me, and I will say this to anybody, it's an act of love. When I see my staff, I know that they are special people on this world, on this planet.
Yeah.
They are people who it is deep in their hearts. They want to serve the community. They want to help those in need. And they want to just connect and make memories for either the child involved, the family involved, or themselves. So to me, I am so appreciative of the staff because they're a unique group of people, but they are passionate about what they do. I mean, even just being here, I can hear my staff member laughing with the kids in the background, and it just
the line still, you guys, is way
it's
back
crazy.
there. But they engage.
They do, and you know, they're walking through, and it's, oh, I love your hair, or oh, we're so excited to see you today. Thank you for joining us for lunch. And I think for Kristen and myself too, it's such a special moment when you're able to sit there and connect with somebody, whether they have the need or not. When people are around food, it's a moment to just be together. So
And
I love my staff.
Yeah, and I will say that staff member that we have at this park especially, I remember last year she knew all the kids' names. Even though she wasn't taking names, she learned their names and she would remember them, and she would call them by name, and because there were those regular kids that came every time. And
how cool is that?
I mean, it feels good to be seen, and those kids get recognized and recognize there's somebody that recognizes them and sees them and cares about them. They can feel that love through that meal as she's handing those out.
Oh, I love that.
Really neat.
And you know, I just have to kind of top it off because I mean, obviously it's your team, it's your people, you hire them, you love them, but Ken and I get to be in the schools a lot, and I've had the privilege of getting to serve school lunch and meet a lot of your staff, and they truly are special people. Like they're just so kind and loving and giving and enthusiastic about their jobs. It's not like, here's your lunch, you know, like they're just happy to be there, and it just feels good, and kids feel that and feel loved. So thank you.
You know when you hear kids say, when you ask a kid, what's your favorite part of the day? And kids will say recess or lunch. And I think that we're a big part of it. They say lunch because they feel loved and they feel that connection sometimes with our staff as they get seen and recognized, and we appreciate being a part of their day.
Well, and we say it over and over again, but you know, you got to have lunch to keep going throughout the afternoon. Otherwise, you know, it's even my 20-year-old yesterday was eating his lunch. He was down. He was like, and then he ate his lunch and picked back up.
Yeah.
How big is that? How big is that for education? I mean, I know we're talking about summer right now, Ann, but how big is that from an educational standpoint?
Oh, huge. You can't focus if you're hungry. You know, you can't teach a hungry child. So if a student comes to school and all they've had is
Lunch
nothing,
yesterday?
or
Yeah.
lunch yesterday, or they come and maybe they had a really high sugar breakfast. While yes, we are serving cereal, ours is specially formulated to have more fiber, to be whole grain, to be lower sugar, so it helps fuel a little bit more throughout the day and really stick with them.
Kind of
But-
keep that steady.
Yep.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's
Because
really cool.
otherwise, you can't teach a hungry child.
100%.
So-
Well, Kristen, what have you learned over the years? I mean, going back to summer meals, what have we learned from this, and how do we keep getting better? How do we keep improving?
I think I've learned that the community enjoys these events. They enjoy coming out to eat with us, and that there is still need, regardless of what we can see on the outside. Like you said, that Kleiner Park, where you think, oh gosh, that's right by the village. That's an area that probably doesn't need it. But there's apartment complexes. There's areas right around there. There's pockets of need all over in that area. And so I'm grateful that we're in lots of different locations where we can help the community. And so I love that. I love seeing the program grow, seeing more and more kids come out, or seeing, I think when we were coming here, we saw a family biking here. And I remember that family won a free bike from us a couple years ago. We can drive by, I'm like, oh, that's the family that won the free bike a couple years ago at one of our events, our kickoff events.
So cool that you even.
Yeah, so there's still
yeah.
people that are coming years later to the same park with their kids as they've gotten bigger. We've seen their kids grow up. So I think that they rely on us, and we rely on them being here. And we are so glad that they're a part of our program.
Is there still opportunities for growth, like opportunities to have more summer feeding programs and more locations? Do you see it growing that way, or are we pretty well serving the need?
I think while we are doing our best to serve the need, there's still areas for growth. I think there's a couple of sites where we want to keep expanding for next year. That's
Sure.
my overall goal. I mean,
Yeah.
if I could feed every child, I would. But a lot of the barrier that I feel like we run into is just getting enough staff, and staff that we can really trust and rely on to be at our summer feeding sites to run a good ship.
Yeah.
So I think that's probably our biggest barrier
Yeah.
to it.
So scaling
It
with
is.
fidelity to make sure it's still a high quality program.
And it's hard. It's hard to have staff and ask them to take their whole summer to work some more. You know,
Yeah.
summer's their time
Right.
off. And so we're asking them to work all summer again. And so that's a tricky thing. So these people that are here, they definitely love feeding kids because they've taken their entire summer to continue to work and feed kids.
That's so cool.
And now earlier you mentioned some volunteers. Are there volunteer organizations that we work with, or do folks, if people wanted to volunteer to help serve at a location or something like that, what would the logistics of that look like?
So they would still need some training if they wanted to volunteer. And that volunteer kind of happened, the volunteer connection we have at the Eagle Library happened because a community member reached out to us and said, there is no programs for summer feeding out in this area.
Yeah.
And I think there's some need and we'd like to make it happen. And we didn't have enough staff to make that happen. And she says, if you can get it out here, we will make sure that you have the help that you need. And this is the third year that they've partnered with us and helped bring a volunteer every day to help serve meals. So we still have a staff member out there helping get that going, but we have an extra person, an extra volunteer helping hand out those meals every day. And they get trained. And so in our normal sites, like our regular sites, that hasn't been an issue. We've been able to staff those, but probably logistically in the future, if we want to add some more sites, that may be something we look for. But it is a big requirement. We have to be able to rely on those volunteers to be there if we're going to do that. So very grateful for that partnership out in Eagle, and that the lady who reached out and really just cared deeply about her community and wanted to form that relationship. So third year going, and I'm grateful for her.
We have such a great community.
Yes.
I can't say I'm going to get choked up here. Like really, I mean, we are so blessed here in West Ada, and Meridian, Boise, Eagle, Star, all areas we cover.
Well, I feel like we say it every podcast, Katie, but
know.
I'm just so thankful for you all and your staff. I mean, the work that you all do, obviously, you're filling an amazing need, and it's just cool to see you all do that. Is there anything, before we turn off the cameras, is there anything that we haven't touched on, that Ann, maybe you want to, any parting shots or anything you want to leave us with that we haven't touched on yet?
Yeah, I think to me, I just want to encourage everyone, if you haven't brought your family out, come do so. It's a great way to get outside. You don't have to worry about packing a lunch or cleaning up your kitchen after a long day or halfway through the day.
Yeah.
It's a fun, free activity.
It is. It's fun. It's free. And, I know we talked about how summer feeding is really here for the need, but it's also for those families that just want to get out and go do something. Right. So it's a great way to just get involved in your community, enjoy a free meal, enjoy maybe seeing Westy or another fun event that we have going on, and just get out.
Yeah. Kristen?
Same. I'm just grateful to see all the kids here and everybody that joins in our free meals, and so grateful that we added a couple more sites this year, and we're really seeing those grow, seeing we are hitting numbers we didn't think we'd hit at some of those sites. It's just the first few days. So grateful that we were able to serve our community and that they're enjoying our free meals. So I'd love to see anybody come out and grab a meal.
That's really cool.
Well, thank you so much for being here.
I mean, other than getting sprayed by the sprinklers, it's been a wonderful conversation.
It really has.
Yes.
You didn't tell me I'd get wet if I was going to
Oh, sorry. You're going to bring out the shirts on the way back.
Yeah.
Well, sincerely, thanks for all that you do. It's
thank
great.
you.
Thanks for your time.
We love it.
Yeah, we do.
How great is our job? I mean, to be able to sit here in a park and enjoy time with Ann and Kristen, what they do is just phenomenal.
Well, and really, we're so fortunate to get to share all the good things going on in our district and our amazing colleagues.
Yeah.
Ann and Kristen just do some amazing work. They lead an amazing team, and we're getting a bunch of kids and families fed out here during the summer on a beautiful day, enjoying healthy activity.
Yeah, and not to overly beat the drum, but there's a need. I mean, there really is a need, and I think sometimes I cannot see that, and so to be able to see that need and see that need being met is even so much cooler.
And it's growing, right? Like our valley is growing, and income and things are getting tighter and tighter, and so it's really nice that this is a service that we provide.
And we love you being here. So thank you, as always, for joining us on the podcast today. Please subscribe wherever you get your podcasts, Spotify, Google, Amazon, and if you listen on iTunes, please rate us and leave a review. Or you can go and check out the YouTube version. And today, like I say, between the dogs and the sprinklers, this one's kind of fun to watch. If you want to check it out and watch on YouTube, subscribe on our YouTube channel as well.
Yep. Yeah. And as always, we want to hear from you. So our question of the podcast is, what has been helpful for you and your family in accessing the summer meals that Westy provides? You know, what are some of the things that help you get here and help your kids have a nice lunch? And also, what are some areas we can improve? If there's something we can do to make it easier to access and get those lunches, please let us know. You can email us at communicate@westada.org. You can leave comments on our social media and on YouTube and all the things. But really, we want to hear from you. You're our partners. You're our community members. So share what you think.
We'd love to have that. And happy summer, everybody. Yeah. It is so fun to be out in this park.
It really is.
And enjoying the summertime. So we love that you're here and appreciate you being here. And we'll see you next time.
Next time.
Yeah.